Hey everyone, it's Brano, and last month I released my second commercial game, Surface Breaker, and it completely flopped. So, I've sold 40 units with 4 discounts. Yeah, this is an absolute disaster for me. So, I would like to talk about why I think my game flopped. And I think the primary reason is that I made a game that nobody wanted. So I got into this project because I wanted more Domekeeper. And so I basically made a Domekeeper clone. And I was really craving for more Domekeeper, and I had played a large number of demos where it's like I can see how they were inspired by Domekeeper, but it wasn't really scratching the same itch. And so I thought, hey, maybe there is a gap in the market. And I thought, like, all right, I'm going to do a little bit of market research. And I saw some complaints about other people wanting games that were a little bit more like Domekeeper. And so I made it. And here it is. I personally really like the game, but that doesn't change the fact that nobody else wanted this game. So I would say that as a whole, this is sort of like, I guess, not red ocean, but it's, I guess, purple ocean. It's like I thought that I could genuinely make the Domekeeper clone that people wanted, and I could get a small fraction of Domekeeper's sales, and I guess that's technically true. I got a very small fraction of the game, and so I just wanted to show you the basic gameplay loop. Yeah. I just wanted to show you the basic gameplay loop before we get back into the rest of the script. So, one of the other reasons I made this game is because of the Two Cakes comic. Now, I've criticized this comic in the past, but the primary reason I criticized this is because I thought that what you're actually competing against is like 100 cakes or 2,000 cakes. It's like your competition is actually significantly more than 2 cakes, but I really felt like I can't find a direct Domekeeper clone. So this is going to be enough. But what ended up happening was this. This is Domekeeper, this is Surface Breaker, and people really only had an appetite for Domekeeper. So I completely messed up there. And yeah, so the other big thing I would say about this game is that I attempted to innovate on it by making it top down. So instead of a side scroller, it would be top down. And I was hoping that this would add more to the Domekeeper formula than it did. And you know, it adds a couple of new things here and there, but really it is the same sort of basic experience that you get, and you can just play the game as is. And the project quality, I would say, is decent. I did a lot of play testing until playtesters who would critique my game were willing to say, hey, I'm actually having a pretty good time playing this game. And so I think that the quality is good, and it wasn't enough, though. So I think the main reason why people really dislike this game is because of the art. This art is polarizing in that 50% of people just straight up hate it, and then for the people who don't mind it, it's pretty mid. So the execution of this art is functional, but it's not enough to bring out any form of excitement. Now, I guess I'm not playing the music, so let me just get this music on here. So I got a friend to do a custom soundtrack for this. He gave me a very, very cheap rate for it, which I'm very grateful for. I'll have a link to the music in the description, since he was like learning how to compose music for video games. He's trained in music, so I reckon it's all pretty good. And but yeah, like, that's the music. So I think this was good. Now, in terms of development speed of this project, this took me about 5.5 months of like real development. And 4 of those months was just creating the demo of this game. So it took me a long time to finally see if this game was going to succeed or not. And when I released it, I got very little attention and traction. So I decided to just finish the game, cut the scope by a ton, make a minimum viable product that I could ethically sell on Steam. And that's what I did. Now, I had so much fun playing this, because I got to make these missions. These, so I think the guild missions in Domekeeper were my favorite part, and these are basically the same. So it's where I just changed the rules a bunch of the game. So, for example, I've got this mission called Bouncy that increases like your player speed and your knockback by a time. And so if you play this game, you'll basically play Surface Breaker, but but it's like the rules change. So, oh, I'm fast, but oh, that's like, and so is this really efficient? But what you can do is stuff like that, and like just bounce between them. And I found this to be the most fun part of the entire development, which was just designing these and then playtesting these. I had so much fun playtesting this, and especially this corrosive air one on Brutal. This is really quite intense. I just had an absolute blast playing this particular mission. So the other thing I did was do my multiple rounds of marketing. So I was sending like hundreds of emails for the demo, the Next Fest demo, and then the release of my game. And I got a single YouTuber to play my game who likes me personally, so he played it for me, less so for the game, which is not good on the game. But I did my marketing, and I think that the page I made, let me just get this up. The Steam page I made is, in my opinion, well crafted. I've got a nice piece of background art. I've got a nice logo. I like how this page is done. I sent out emails. I attempted to market. As far as I'm concerned, there was no form of marketing I could do to be able to sell this game. So, yeah. This game was a flop. Nothing I could have done was going to save it. And if I was going to summarize the problem, it's just that the idea wasn't good enough, and the execution had to be bloody, unbelievably excellent in order for this game to sell. So yeah, I sold to an audience that didn't exist. Except for me and a couple other people, which was a bit sad. So, there are some lessons to be learned from the failure of Surface Breaker. Number 1 is that the Two Cakes comic is complete bullshit, instead of mostly bullshit. You either need to come up with something that is quality, like unbelievably good quality, or it has to be novel enough to be interesting. And I made a decent to good game with not a lot of novelty. So that's where I failed, on the idea front altogether. Number two is that I need to go where the audience is actually hungry for new experiences. Fans of Dome Keeper are happy enough to play Dome Keeper because they continually pump out new updates. So I don't actually solve a problem of hunger. Number three is that changing a side-scroller perspective to a top-down perspective does not alter gameplay in a significantly way when the character isn't impacted by gravity. So yeah, I didn't do enough innovation on the genre. Number four is that I am never going to do art by myself again. And number five is that I was really smart to not quit my full-time job and keep game dev as a hobby. Now, the irony of releasing a game that is this big of a failure is that it validates in my mind that I will eventually be able to become a full-time game dev at some point. And it is because I feel fairly unfazed by the failure. I made a video game that I really enjoyed, and I really enjoyed the process of making the video game. And now I can confidently say that making the video game is no longer the hard part for me when it comes to video game development. Clearly, I have weak points that need to be solved. But I think these problems are a matter of when rather than if I solve those weak points. So I'm going to continue to make video games, and hopefully it eventually works out. Hopefully you've learned something from this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one, guys. Bye.